Cheers. The Kettle Corn Cream Ale came out perfect. I decided to run with the extra honey malt instead of caramel malt and use Decoction to get caramelization and get some extra sweetness. It's got a corn flavor. I used a lot more corn this time. I used about 33% of my grain bill, and I love it. It's a perfect summer beer, clean, crisp, easy drinking. A little sweetness to it, but still it clears off the palate quickly. It's very refreshing. My pH is right about 4.2. It's a great lawnmower beer, a very crushable beer, perfect for the summer. So you can see how crystal clear, getting condensation on the glass, but it has come out very clear. It's a little sweet, but it's not overly sweet. This is not a hop forward beer. From the pour, you could see the head on it. It's still maintaining a little bit of a head. You can see the lacing. Just from the slight agitation, that head forms right back on there. It's plenty carbonated. It's got a good smooth mouthfeel. I can taste a little breadiness in there. I really wanted the malts that I added to shine, and so I didn't want to overhop it. And I still wanted to retain some corn flavor. I'm getting hints of corn. I think the decoction did help malanoidins for the honey malt that I added, as well as the Maris Otter instead of 2-row. It smells very good. A little bit of breadiness, a little bit of corn, a little bit of honey shines through. It goes down very smooth and easy. The yeast is very neutral, so it's contributing no esters or additional flavors. Final alcohol content, ABV, 5.51% alcohol. Not too strong, not too weak. I hope you stick around and watch the process and see how I made it. 5 pounds of Maris Otter. Another 5 pounds of Maris Otter. Two more pounds of Maris Otter, 2 pounds of honey malt, and 1.5 pounds of carapils. I have 8 pounds of flaked corn that I will not melt. Okay, I'm about to mash in. I've got all my grain, got my corn, got rice hulls. I've got my water at 158 degrees. That's what I find is about 8 degrees with this volume of water. It's about 11 gallons in there right now. Will get me right to 150 degrees where I want to be. That is all my base grains. I'm adding rice hulls. I'm adding rice hulls because of so much flaked corn that I'm adding, and this will help it be less sticky and thick in the mash. Here goes the flaked corn. That is 8 pounds of flaked corn. That is 33% of my grain bill. That is exactly 150 degrees. I'm gonna let it go for 30 minutes. I have great water here in Portland, Oregon. It's soft, very soft water, not much in it at all. The pH was 7, so I added 1 milliliter of lactic acid, brought it down to 6 pH, mashed in. I took a sample and quickly cooled it down to temperature so I can take a pH reading. I'm at 5.6, so the pale malts aren't very acidic, so they don't drop it very much, and the corn can actually raise the pH a little bit, so it's not acidic at all. So I'm gonna restir my mash. I'm gonna add a little bit more lactic acid. I'd like to get it down to about 5.3. This is intended to be highly crushable lawnmower beer. I took another sample and I have a pH of 5.4. I'm good with that. Also, of course, I did use a Camden tablet to get rid of any chloramines out of the water. Okay, I will be doing a single decoction. This is the first time I've done a decoction. I know it's not necessary with modern grains, but the Maillard reactions that produce the melanoidins, I'm convinced to try it that it's gonna improve the flavor of the beer. So you don't have to do it, but why not do it? It's a little bit more work. So I'm just gonna do a single decoction. I'm gonna take one pool from it, I'm gonna boil the grain, use that approach to add more color and caramel flavor to it. And I think it's worth trying. I'm just trying to get grain. I want to leave as much solution behind. The enzymes are in the solution now for the mash conversion. And I want just enough liquid so that I'm going to have to keep, when I boil this, I'm going to have to keep it moving so I don't scorch it. Since this is my very first time doing it, I'm going to fine tune my technique, I'm sure. See that? They say to take about a third. When you bring it to a boil for the decoction, it will denature the enzymes, so they won't convert starches to sugar anymore. But everything is still back in the main mash, and that decoction will explode starches. So it actually can increase your efficiency. So when I bring it back into the solution, into the mash, then all of the enzymes that are in the solution will then continue to convert any starches that are left. This will continue to mash while I'm doing my decoction. You want to stir constantly so that you don't scorch it. I want the caramelization, but I don't want to burn it. So now I'm bringing it to a boil. All right, I'm going to consider that boiling now. I'm going to boil it for 30 minutes. This is the biggest reason I think people don't like to do this. This is very tedious. You can't let it scorch. And I'm only doing a single decoction. You can do triple decoctions, and I will add this back to my mash, which it will slightly increase the mash temperature for some of that higher temperature enzyme conversion, add a little bit of sweetness to the beer because it won't be fermentable. But I want to get all the starches converted still to sugars. And this is going to cook it, caramelize it, can add very interesting flavors. Breadiness, toastiness, caramel flavors. It should add a little bit of color to it. Trying to find that perfect balance where it's just a little sweet, a little caramel. I'm looking for that cereal puff corn flavor with a little bit of caramel and sweetness, but still a very clear, refreshing, crushable lawnmower beer. So I'm looking for subtlety on the flavor. I don't want this to be overly sweet and taste corn syrupy and sugary sweet. Just want that light taste of it. You can see why people don't like to do this. It's a lot of extra work. Extra work usually pays off though, for most things in life. Well, it's been 15 minutes. The bit of flaked corn was gelatinized, pretty much disintegrated. Well, that is it. Okay, I increased the temperature of my mash up to 154, and it's at like 153 right now, and that was about 45 minutes for the whole process of doing the decoction. So now I'm going to add it back in. Doesn't look like there was any scorching, so that's really good. Well, it raised it, looks like almost 156, so that raised it about 3 degrees. It's kind of perfect. I'm gonna let it sit and mash longer at the higher temperature, just for the higher end enzyme conversion. Be less fermentable sugar, a little sweeter. That's okay. Most of the conversion's all done. So far, so good. I gave that another 15 minutes to finish the conversion. I'm gonna now heat it up to 165 degrees to mash out. Time to drain to my cook kettle. So I'm going to drain my cook kettle and then I'm going to sparge. I'm ready to sparge, which is rinsing the grain. I want to get all the sugar out of there. The temperature of the water is about 165 degrees, and I also lowered the pH to my mash pH. I don't want to raise the pH by sparging, so I want to keep it in the same range. It's really sticky. Looks like it's stuck a little bit, and I'm just gonna poke holes. It kind of creates channels, so it's not the most efficient way, but I gotta do what I gotta do. I'm using about 4 gallons of water to sparge. It'll be fine. And I should get to about 13, 14 gallons for the boil. I'm gonna do a long boil. I can boil off a couple gallons of water Easy. This mash tun has a false bottom in it. It screens all the grain, holds it all back. Okay, that's about it. So I'm going to take the mash tun away, lift the cook kettle back up onto the burner, and then we'll get to the boil. Okay, it's about to just start boiling. You can already see all the protein foam forming on top. That's what I'm worried about boiling over. It's just starting to bubble a little bit. I'm gonna start breaking this up now. I'm a little worried about this one. I really pushed it too far. This is way too full. It is starting to roll. Starting to roll, starting to boil. Oh boy. Wow, it looks like I survived another one. Knock on wood. Whoa. All right, we made it. We're at a boil. I'm gonna let this boil for 45 minutes. Then I'll move on to adding my first round of hops. I thought I'd take a little break here just to show you the golden ale after it's been lagering basically in the kegerator for a couple months. I wanted you to see that in the sunlight. It's a beautiful day. Wife's by the pool, the kids are swimming. Yeah, that's perfect. So check out my golden ale video. All right, back to brewing the cream ale. It's been 45 minutes, so now I'm adding my bittering hops. This is 1 ounce of Hallertau and a ½ ounce of Mount Hood. So here we go. I'm gonna boil this for another 45 minutes. For bittering, this is not a hop forward beer. It's a cream ale. I want it crushable, lawnmower beer, not super hoppy. I really want to get the corn flavor out of it, and I want to get a caramel element to it with that honey malt as well, a little bit of sweetness. I'm really hoping for that, like corn pops, caramel, just subtle and just smooth, crisp, clear beer. All right, I have 15 minutes left to boil, so I'm gonna add some Whirlfloc, which is just Kerrigan as a hot side fining, just to help clarify this beer. 1, 2. There's 5 minutes left in the boil, so I'm gonna add the last bit of hops, a little aroma hops. It's Mount Hood. Just to finish it out, the Hallertau and the Mount Hood are earthy, noble, herbal. There's a little bit of spice with the Mount Hood, just a little bit, just to complement the corn and the caramel. Nothing floral or citrusy or tropical or anything like that. So, yep, add it in. Just a little touch at the very end of boil. Okay, that's flame out. It's over. I'm gonna chill it as quickly as possible with my copper coil. This circulates water through the coil, and then it goes back out to my swimming pool. In this goes. And I will turn on the water once it's cool. Then we're going to transfer to the fermenter. There we go, fill in the fermenter. I'm gonna aerate it while I'm filling it. This is the only time you want to aerate, get oxygen in there. Color looks great. I got it down to 62 to 63 degrees. I want to pitch it low using flagship yeast. That's Imperial. It's just a very clean, neutral yeast, and you can ferment at lower temperatures with that. So I don't want any esters. I don't want any sulfur flavors. And then I will cold crash, lager it out in the kegerator, really let it sit and clear out. I'm going to take my sample to take my gravity reading, my initial gravity reading. I'm going to do 400 billion cells. I have this yeast stored. I save it from batch to batch, but since this is a slightly different recipe, I just wanted to start with completely new yeast just to remove any variables if anything's wrong with it. I don't want to be thinking, was it the yeast that was, something was off with that or my pitch. So start fresh, new yeast. I'm also adding Clarity Firm, which will help reduce gluten and also help clarify the beer. 33% of my grain bill is corn, so that doesn't have gluten in it. Figure why not? It helps clarify the beer and remove some gluten. That's it for brew day. I'm gonna let it go for 2 weeks and then it'll be kegging it up. All right, it's been 2 weeks, time to keg the beer. I have my kegs fully cleaned and sanitized, ready to go. They're full of CO2. When I bottom fill from the fermenter into the kegs, the CO2 sits in there and the beer will push it out to reduce any chances of oxidation. First, I like to purge the racking arm to make sure any yeast that's collected in there just comes out, but not a big deal. A little bit of yeast that came out. Okay, on goes the tube. Purge the CO2 so I can open it. I should make a longer hose, but I just lift it up so that it touches the bottom, so that it truly bottom fills. I can see all the CO2 in there, a cloud of it. It will come out. And I fill these kegs all the way up to the top, just enough so I can get the lid in. I will put CO2 on it, and then I will purge it to make sure to get anything out of that headspace. I don't want any oxygen in there. I will probably force carbonate this a little bit, put it in the keg to crash the temperature down. Now I'm going to take my sample for my final gravity reading. Smells wonderful. I'll set that off to the side and do that later. I'm going to fill up the second keg, dump and collect my yeast. Probably about a week, and I want it to be cold and let everything settle out as much as possible so it will clarify. It will clarify more over time, and I can't wait to taste it. And that's it.